Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Let's Talk Tuesdays podcast. This is the show where we answer all of your questions that you send in every single week on the Brendan Plays forums at brendanplays.com/forums or in the YouTube comment section down below. You can also leave a voicemail on the website at brendanplays.com by clicking the big green button on the right hand side of the page. Stay in contact with Brendan Plays by following us on Twitter at Brendan Plays. And you can also stay in contact by leaving a like on our Facebook page. Brendan Plays Official is what you need to search up. Links will be in the description down below on the YouTube video. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much again for joining us for another episode of Let's Talk Tuesdays. Now, I'm going to tell you guys this week is not going to be a long show. The reason being is because Raw was really nothing. There's really not a lot of things to talk about this week. The Royal Rumble, much to my surprise, I put out a tweet earlier today, and I was kind of like, oh my god, the Royal Rumble is this Sunday. I honestly thought it was another week or two away. I didn't know it had creeped up this quickly. And to be honest, the build up towards the Royal Rumble, some matches not too bad. I mean, Owens and Ambrose I think is done pretty good. I think the Royal Rumble match itself I think is decent in the build up so far. I think obviously throwing in Lesnar in the last couple of weeks has kind of made things a little bit more interesting, but it would have been nice to have that for the last 4 weeks or so, but instead the last few weeks. But the rest of the card I think is going to be pretty weak. I mean, this Charlotte and Becky Lynch match might be okay. The Usos and the New Day, I don't really care for that one. But in the end of the day, we're going to go through the entire Royal Rumble card later on in the show. I'll give my full rundown, predictions, what I think is going to happen, where I would like to see the WWE go, what I think is going to happen going forward to Wrestlemania time as well. So we're going to talk about that one later. But not a lot of things to talk about on Raw specifically. It was really a dull show, not a big fan of this week's Raw at all. So we'll talk about a few of the talking points that I want to get into. But first, I kind of want to give you guys a bit more of an update of what's been going on with me. I know some of you guys don't care. The three of you that do care, this is for you. Now, the last month or so, it's been a battle. You guys have heard of the excitement in my voice that I'm getting that internet upgrade. Yes, I'm going to be able to stream again. Yes, I can do more videos for you guys. And it never happened. This time last month, I was thinking I was going to get my internet upgraded. Things were going to go sweet. We're going to start doing more great things. And as it turned out, it was not happening. It was postponed a month because it turned out that my mum read the email wrong. Instead of the 20th of December, it was the 20th of January. So obviously, the 20th of January is, well, right now pretty much. It's tomorrow. So the internet guy should be coming today. Now, fingers crossed he does come. You never know. But hopefully he does come, and hopefully he does upgrade the internet. Now, I don't know if it's going to be an immediate effect, that my internet's going to be, boom, fast from tomorrow. Now, mind you, it's not going to be that fast. Our internet upgrade it's going to be like 5 times faster than what we get right now, which is great, obviously. But it's very early in the development in the area that they've just started to upgrade the internet. So for the next couple of years, this is probably the best we're going to get. It's a slight upgrade, and over time, it'll get better and better and better. But for now, this is what we have to make do with. But obviously, anything is great, and hopefully we can start streaming again. That's the goal. That would be really, really cool if I can get back on Twitch. Now, I'm also going to be trialing a new kind of streaming service, if that does happen, where I'm going to be able to stream on YouTube, Twitch, Hitbox, StreamMe, whatever other site I decided to sign up for and stream on. A lot of different sites. I'm just going to stream on all of them at the same time. And I'm going to have I'll have one little app where I can read the entire chat from all those different sites on one. So I can read everything at the same time. If you're on YouTube, I can see your YouTube, chat. If you're on Twitch, I can see the Twitch chat. I can see it all. So that's pretty cool. I'm really looking forward to giving that a try. And basically what I'm going to do on Twitch, if it does happen, if not, we're going to be another month away until we can stream again. But what I'm going to do on Twitch, I think, is really just play whatever. Right now, I'm really big on trophy hunting. I have been for years, but right now I'm even more big on it than ever. So I want to try and pick out all the games that I've got right now, and I want to start finishing them. So we're going to talk about this one a little bit more in detail later on in what this Brendan playing. But right now, obviously, I've been playing the Assassin's Creed series. My plan is to kind of finish all the Assassin's Creeds and get the platinum for them all. So I think I might just play these games, just kick back, enjoy, put some music on, chill out, talk to the chat, play some games, get some trophies, and, you know, you just get to see me playing some different games, and I think it's just going to be a lot of fun. So that's kind of the plan I've got right now. I know a lot of you guys want to see me stream WWE 2K, but for me, I just... every now and then, I enjoy the 2K16 or the 2K, whatever, the 2K streams. If I did it every day, I would not want to stream ever. So maybe once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, I can get on board with that and do a stream for that. But for the most part, I just kind of want to play whatever. I just want to have fun and just play games. And it's also a very good way to kind of motivate me to play more games. So that's going to be exciting. So the streams won't be too often because, you know, my scheduling right now is just, you know, appalling. But obviously, now we're going to segue into the next thing. When I get my new house, my streaming is going to be on point. So an update on the house situation. Now, we actually did get a house, and we signed the contract. We were just about to kind of get through to the finalizing of the payment. We had applied for a loan, and we almost got the loan. So what happened is that we got a loan for 80% of the value of the property. So we didn't quite get the entire value. We needed to get, you know, X amount of money. They didn't quite give us that much. They only gave us 80% of that amount. So we had to try and fund 20% of that. And in the end, we could have done that, but I feel as though we wouldn't make, you know, trying to resell the house wouldn't be good. Now, the reason why they didn't give us the full value is because the house that we were going to buy is pretty close to power lines, a big power, you know, lines and tower. So, you know, it's a little bit off-putting, and the bank didn't really want to kind of risk that for whatever reason. There's some policy I didn't listen that much, but for whatever reason they didn't want to give us the loan. So I guess we're going to have to try and find a different house. I'm a little bummed out because I was kind of set on that house. But I think in the end of the day, we're actually going to get a better house. I think my parents are going to fork out a little bit more to get a better house. And funny enough, it's a house on the same street, but further down in the street that won't be affected by the power, you know, the power lines. So that's great. So I'm pretty happy about that, to be honest. And I'm really, really pumped. That's all I've really got to say. I'm just really pumped. I'm really excited to get a house. I think right now, this is probably the most exciting period of my life, I think. You know, I don't know, maybe... quite honestly, going to college was pretty exciting. That was a pretty exciting period. I thought that was a big step in life, and that was a very different and very, you know, it was very exciting for a period of time, and obviously the novelty wore off greatly, and I ended up hating it, but I think right now, this is going to be really, really cool, because I get to have my own place, all to myself, my own rules, my own life, my own way of life. I can do whatever I want. I can stream, I can make videos, I'm going to have the internet, I'm going to have the new computer, I'm going to have my own office, I'm going to have no excuses, I'm going to have everything I've ever wanted, and it's going to happen in the next month or so. So it's a very exciting period. I'm really, really pumped for it. And it kind of sucks because I have to wait, you know, like I said, probably a month at the moment till I'm going to be moving in, or, you know, hopefully if we can get a house before then, it'll be cool, but probably a month at the earliest. So I'm kind of in this, you know, standpoint. You know, I'm at a point where I wish it was a month away. I wish, you know, it was February right now. I wish I was moving in right now. But at the same time, if it was February right now, I'd almost be back at college. So that was, you know, kind of a bit of a, you know, fun, great at the same time. But as well as that, it's pretty shitty. I have to go back to college for my final year, well, final year and a half, I guess. You know, I think I might have to repeat 6 months of it since I'm a dumbass and I failed a few of my courses, but yeah, I just think it's really exciting. I'm just really excited for it. So I guess you guys can probably tell that by now, but I keep blabbing on about it every week. But so no house at the moment. We're gonna have to start re-looking again, and we've found a few that we like, and hopefully we can get one of those. So that'd be really cool. So we'll kind of transition back into Monday Night Raw this week. Now, obviously, not a lot happened this week on Raw, as I mentioned a moment ago. It was a pretty dull week, and a week that I'm pretty grateful, honestly, because I was actually away today. I didn't have a chance to watch Raw live, and I was a little bummed out. I was actually pretty looking forward to Raw. I was actually pretty keen for it because, you know, I was thinking in my mind, okay, this is the final Raw before the Royal Rumble. Some shit is going to happen. They're going to, you know, really hype this up for Sunday. This is going to be really cool. But as it turned out, it was really shitty. It was not a good show. There's a few moments that I enjoyed, but for the most part, I just tuned out. I just didn't really pay much attention. There just wasn't much there for me to really get behind, and that kind of sucked. I think that was really, just really lame. I really was hoping for a great show. I really wanted to get pumped up for the Rumble. Last week, I was kind of into it when Brock Lesnar came out and demolished everyone. I was kind of into it. I was like, all right, Lesnar in the Rumble, this is going to be really fun. And I'm still on that, still on board with that. But obviously, at the end of Raw, Brock Lesnar getting laid out by the Wyatt family. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not really that great on it. I mean, it makes sense, yeah, and I get why they did it, but I just feel as though Brock Lesnar's got to look really strong heading in towards that Rumble to make you believe that, there could be a title change. Now, all I think is that, Roman Reigns has got the better of the most likely contender, and let's be honest, the Wyatt family's not going to win, so I don't know, but I'm going to be a little bit all over the place in terms of Raw. I'm going to just kind of mention whatever comes to my mind, because I didn't really pay that much attention. I skipped a lot of Raw, to be honest. And at the same time, the stream that I was watching off was really shitty, so things just were not good. It's not a good week at all. But I want to kick it off with the start of the show. We had Roman Reigns with Chris Jericho out there, and I was fine with that. I mean, obviously, the McMahons realized, look, we can't have 7 weeks in a row of us being out there with Roman Reigns to start off the show. I mean, 6 weeks in a row? I think it might have been 5, where a McMahon started Monday Night Raw with Roman Reigns. That's pretty ridiculous, to be honest with you. It just goes to show how stale Raw has kind of been. It's just kind of feels like it's the same thing every week. And we basically got the same thing a little bit, but, instead of it's a McMahon, it's a Chris Jericho, and I don't know. This is my argument. I think Jericho has not been good since his return. Honestly, he has not set the world on fire, and quite honestly, I think Jericho, I'm a little worried that he doesn't have it anymore. I'm a little worried that Jericho, his stay is no longer welcome. I think he has overstayed his welcome, and I'm kind of saying that because I'm a little worried that I'm saying that because Jericho, I've been a big fan of him for a long time, and I think he's still great. I still enjoy him, but these last few weeks, what is going on? He's coming out there, the way he's dressing, I don't know who the hell is dressing him. I mean, tonight, came out with a jacket on with no shirt, that looked ridiculous. I guess in the end, it was probably an easy way for him just to come out there and throw the referee shirt on, whatever, but it just didn't look good. I don't know, and him later on anyways, he came out with like the same thing anyway, so his dressing sense is awful. What happened to just a shirt and some jeans? How hard is it to do that? Put a shirt on, Chris. Your pec muscles aren't as good as they used to be. The surgery is worn off. Either get the surgery done again or put a shirt on. I mean, honestly. But yeah, so he's, a little bit wacky there. And his promos just haven't been great. It feels like he's trying to channel his inner 1999. And mind you, Jericho back then was fantastic, but he's so limited right now. This PG era, what made Jericho great is because he was saying some controversial things. He was saying these cool, funny catchphrases. The one with Stephanie McMahon, calling her the slut or whatever. He can't say those things now. And now it feels like he's just limited. He needs to kind of adapt. He's going back just using the catchphrases, using what the people knew him as in 1999. But the problem is, Chris, 1/3 of the audience was not even born in 1999 that are watching right now. Let's be honest. I was only 4 years old. And so I can't really talk. A majority of the fans, aren't all that familiar with Chris Jericho at his best. They haven't seen Chris Jericho full-time for quite some time. And I think Jericho needs to adapt. I think he needs to do something. My only real suggestion is to turn Chris Jericho heel. But the problem is, there is not enough baby faces right now for that to happen, because you have Dean Ambrose, you got Roman Reigns, you got Chris Jericho now, and you got Brock Lesnar on a part-time basis. Then who? You've really got no one. Dolph Ziggler, they're burying Dolph Ziggler. He is getting buried. I don't know why. Maybe they've just had enough of him. They've just used him up. They don't care about him anymore, but he is on his way out. I wouldn't be surprised if he is out of the company this time next year. Ryback has been just destroyed as well. I mean, he had a bit of momentum, when he won the IC title. They made him lose that, and ever since he's just been doing nothing and losing and just looking like a joke. So they've kind of ruined Ryback, and they've got a lot of their top guys out. There's no Cena, there's no Orton, there's no Cesaro, there's no Rollins, there's no Daniel Bryan. There's a lot of their top tier babyface names, and some, I know I mentioned a few heels, but I know there's a lot of their top tier names out. So they are really short on babyfaces right now, which I think is why Chris Jericho is there to begin with. I think they probably offered Jericho a lucrative deal to come in and work for the next 4 or 5 months to fill that spot until, your Cenas start to return. So Chris Jericho, though, I think needs to turn heel because he's just so stale. He's so stale. He's really offering nothing. His interactions with the New Day, I think, were pretty bad. I think they were very cringeworthy. I was not enjoying them at all. And I think the New Day couldn't really salvage the segment. I just think Chris Jericho offered nothing. And right now, I don't know. I think Chris Jericho, what do you do with him? Do you turn him heel, kind of turn him back to this arrogant, cocky prick, that type of gimmick? Or, do we kind of stick it out and keep with his part-time, smiley, let's crack jokes type of Chris Jericho? I just don't think it's working. And the crowd reactions he's getting, mind you, the crowds has been awful. But Jericho has not been getting big reactions. I think the crowd and the audience is starting to get a little bit tired of Chris Jericho. I don't know about you guys, but this is just the way I feel. Let me know what you guys are thinking about Chris Jericho. Your thoughts on his current run so far. Now, I know it's only a few weeks in, and we haven't even seen him wrestle yet. So at the Rumble, we'll see how he works. We'll see if his in-ring work is still up to scratch. And I have no doubt that it will be. I'm sure he's probably already been working live events currently, getting back into shape for the Rumble. No doubt. But I'm just a little concerned right now that Chris Jericho needs to turn heel. So the only real thing that I have for Jericho is at WrestleMania you have Dean Ambrose versus Chris Jericho. Now, I know they kind of teased that back at Night of Champions. So you kind of go with that. You turn Jericho heel, and for the next 4 months or so, he's a heel, and you have him feud with Dean Ambrose. So that way, you've got at least someone to feud with Ambrose. You've got, a high-level matchup for him. You've got Jericho doing something. And then obviously you got Roman Reigns doing something with whoever, comes out at Fastlane as the number one contender, or who is the champion. And obviously that leaves a lot of, heels doing nothing, like the League of Nations, for example. But hey, that's their own fault. They've got to elevate some guys, whether you bring up a new stable, whether you create a Balor Club, and there's a lot of rumors about AJ Styles coming in. Does he debut at the Rumble, or does he debut after all? You can make him come in, have him be an top level babyface. There's a lot of options they can do. They can bring back Sami Zayn, promote him to the main roster, and throw him right in the mix. There's a few things they could do to kind of solve that babyface issue. But for now, I think really for the best thing for Chris Jericho, the best way to maximize him for WrestleMania season is to turn him heel. Otherwise, it's going to be a waste. And otherwise, I think the crowd just won't care. So the Wyatt family beating up Brock Lesnar at the end. I mean, are we now starting to kind of realize the Wyatt family are a threat? I mean, after how long have we seen the Wyatt family just lose whenever it matters? When the pay-per-view comes, the Wyatt family lose. But here and there, they start to, get the odd victory here and there. We're meant to take them serious again. I mean, they beat the Dudley Boyz up again. I mean, how many times is this going to happen? The Dudley Boyz, I thought they were going to come back, win those tag team titles straight away. And I have no doubt in my mind, if the New Day was not there, the Dudley Boyz would have won those tag titles. No doubt in my mind. But the reason why they never won the titles and they kind of never went and did anything much with them is because of the New Day. The New Day basically are holding the titles instead of the Dudley Boyz. The New Day are so hot, and I think they are cooling off quite a bit. I think the crowd is getting a little bit less and less and less for them. And it's going to be difficult for them because in this day and age, it's so difficult to remain hot. And I mean, I guess they're doing a lot of their own thing, but I'm sure that the creative team is having more and more input on what they're doing. And because they're thinking, well, let's strike while the iron is hot. Let's keep this going. Hey guys, try this. This will be great. And it's not. So I think the New Day probably probably is getting a lot more influence from the wrong people, aka the creative team. So I just feel as though the New Day are slacking a little bit. I didn't mind what they did with the trombone, or the trumpet, what is it? Trombone, I think. And they had the funeral for that. I thought that was pretty funny. I thought it was okay, so that was cool. But, yeah, so I have no doubt the Dudley Boyz would have been tag champs instead of the New Day. But in the end, they're not there, and, you know, they're just getting beat up by the Wyatts every week. And them coming out and beating up Lesnar at the end of the Raw, I just thought was really random. I just thought that was really weird. It just didn't really kind of tie into everything. Yes, I get it. It was the Royal Rumble, and they're coming out to, you know, say that we're going to be the favorites, the Royal Rumble's ours, blah, 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 blah. But them just being there was a little random for what was happening in the segment, so whatever. But, yeah, I would have probably had Lesnar stand tall again instead of Reigns, but I guess they went with a different direction. I just feel as though they've kind of done the dirty on Lesnar a little bit. Reigns got 2 spears in, and Lesnar really got nothing. So I think, honestly, I would have had Lesnar at least beat up a couple of the Wyatt family guys, take them out, and maybe, you know, Bray backs away, and, you know, Lesnar gets, you know, manages to, you know, take Braun off his feet, and he gets out of there, something like that, rather than having him getting laid out. I don't know, but it just kind of suggests to me that Lesnar, well, I think he's a fair chance to win, let's be honest, but, you know, I think the Wyatt family have no chance. Generally what happens is that if you are standing strong, standing tall before a pay-per-view, you generally lose. So if you're a Wyatt family fan, that pretty much means the Wyatt family are not going to win. But, yeah, I don't mind what they're doing with Lesnar and Reigns. I could get on board with a Lesnar and Reigns match at WrestleMania again. I could do that, but I don't think that's the direction they're going. I think this is just a short-term thing, perhaps for now, and maybe at Fastlane. I doubt it, but it's possible. So that's kind of where I see this going. And in terms of the Royal Rumble, I had a little bit of a problem. I think they announced a lot of matches for the Royal Rumble this week. I think maybe like 3 or 4 matches for the Rumble this week. And that was a problem for me because I am tired of them announcing all the matches 1 week in advance. I think it's so hard to sell a pay-per-view. And I think this is the reason why they're probably struggling to sell pay-per-views, sell network subscriptions. It's because you don't know what you're getting until days before the pay-per-view. I think, honestly, they could have announced a last man standing match between Ambrose and Owens, 3 weeks ago. They could have announced the Usos versus the New Day 2 weeks ago. They could have announced Becky Lynch and Charlotte weeks ago instead of doing it on SmackDown or whatever. They could have just announced it at the pay-per-view and started just focusing on the pay-per-view. But instead, they want to leave everything to the last minute. I just feel as though it's bad booking, it's bad decision-making, it's bad marketing to try and build up a show with 1 week. I think you can do it successfully. You have 3-4 weeks to build this up. Yes, you're probably only going to sell the Rumble, and you're going to sell it regardless of who's on the rest of the undercard because of the Royal Rumble match itself. But I think it would help in the future. I'm not even talking about the Rumble. Just think of the future. Sell your matches, build them up, and announce them, with at least 2 weeks, at least 3 weeks. Come on, a few weeks in advance, so people know what's going on. I mean, how hard is it to do that? Let's be honest. So I guess that kind of segues. Oh wait, one more thing before we get into that. We'll talk about it now. The Royal Rumble matchup. Let's talk about the card, and we'll talk about what I was going to say because it's a part of the Royal Rumble. I'm going to talk about Kalisto and Alberto Del Rio. So they've been trading the US title back and forth. Kalisto won it last week on Raw. Del Rio won it back straight away on SmackDown. Now, last week on the show, I predicted that Kalisto would lose at the Royal Rumble. As it turned out, he didn't even make it that long, and he's already lost it now. I think there's a fair chance he wins it back at the Rumble. I think they're doing this whole, underdog storyline, whatever, but I think there's a fair chance he wins it back at the Rumble, and they kind of give Kalisto a long-term run with the belt, because Del Rio doesn't need it. Del Rio's doing nothing, let's be honest. A guy like Kalisto, you kind of feature him a little bit more, you give him a bit of a run, couple-month run, I think it really could work. And they, like we just mentioned a moment ago, they need more baby faces. Well, why not create Kalisto as, an up-and-coming babyface? Rey Mysterio was a top star in the company. Kalisto is basically a carbon copy. I mean, how hard is it to kind of replicate that and, get Kalisto in another top spot? I think Kalisto could do it. So I would start building Kalisto up. I think Kalisto, if I was running the company, I think Kalisto would probably be not a main event guy, but an upper mid card, on the fringe of the main event, and a pretty credible IC or a US champion by the end of the year. By the end of 2016, I would have Kalisto in that position as a believable champion and a guy who can be a legit threat to the US or IC title, rather than this underdog guy. I would have him to that point where you can really start to believe in him. But I would probably have Kalisto win and get the title back. I just think the League of Nations is just so bad. It's awful. It is so horrendous that I just want everything that has to do with the title away from any guy in that group. Del Rio, since returning, I gave it some time. He just hasn't done it. He just hasn't been great. And Rusev, he's done. Bad News Barrett, you all know how I feel about him. And Sheamus, I don't want to get into Sheamus again because I think he is just the absolute drizzling shit. And quite honestly, if you're a Sheamus fan, I feel sorry for you. I would like to give you a hug. I would like to comfort you. I would like just to... I just feel bad for you because Sheamus sucks so much. I'm sorry, but if you're a fan, I just feel bad for you. I really do, because Sheamus is so bad, so bad. And I'm so annoyed that we have nobody else right now other than Sheamus as a top-level heel. He's just there by default. He's not there because he's the man. He's there because there's nobody else. And Sheamus just does not belong. He just does not belong in that spot at all. I think he's shown that. Anyways, before I get even more heated about Sheamus, talking about Sheamus annoys me. He grinds my gears. So a couple other matches on the show. Usos versus New Day. Not a lot to say here. I think the New Day will retain. I think they're going to keep riding this, red hot streak from the New Day. No surprise. And the Usos haven't really done much to deserve the titles. I think the New Day deserve to keep them. Divas title, Becky Lynch and Charlotte. I think Becky Lynch wins the title. I think Charlotte drops it. Becky Lynch is starting to gain some steam. Becky Lynch is getting a bit of attention. Like I said a few weeks ago, Becky Lynch is probably my favorite diva right now. I'm really enjoying her work. I think I'm becoming a fan. I'm really liking Becky Lynch, and I would like to see her win the title. I think Charlotte has done nothing for the title. This whole, am I a heel, am I a babyface, is getting confusing. She's finally picked a side, but I'm on Becky Lynch bandwagon. I want to see Becky Lynch succeed. I think she's great, and I think she's gotten a lot better. In this short period of time, I think she's really gotten a lot better, a lot more comfortable out there as well in front of the big crowd. I think she's doing a lot better. So, for me, I would have Becky Lynch win and hold it until WrestleMania, whether you do Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks, or maybe you do Becky Lynch versus Charlotte versus Sasha Banks, triple threat for the title at WrestleMania. I don't know. Maybe you bring up Bayley and you have her in there. I don't know. But I think it'd be really cool if Becky Lynch won the title. I think it'd be something that the Divas division needs, a bit of a spark, because it's been pretty stagnant, and I think Charlotte as a champion just has been pretty boring, quite honestly. I think, she's been very disappointing, and I'm not going to blame that so much on Charlotte. I think it's just the WWE's booking of her has been so confusing. It's been ridiculous, let's be honest. So then she's not getting much assistance from creative, let's be honest. And another matchup is the last man standing match for the Intercontinental Championship. I think Dean Ambrose retains from the sole purpose that I think they're going to have bigger plans for Kevin Owens at WrestleMania. A lot of rumors about a Brock Lesnar match, so if that's going to be the case, Owens needs to get rid of that IC title away from him. And I guess Ambrose, I don't know if he'll hold it come WrestleMania time, because I think if they're going to do an Ambrose and Jericho match and the IC title, yeah, I could see it, but I don't know if I'd be all that on board with it. But I think this will be a great match. I think this has been a really good build-up to it. Two guys who just keep beating the shit out of each other. I think, what more could you want? I think these guys will do the same thing again. I think this could steal the show. I think this will be very, very good. So, Owens and Ambrose, look out for that one. I'll be having my eyes glued to it. Should be a really good matchup. Finally, the Royal Rumble match, the 30-man Royal Rumble matchup. Currently, we have Reigns, Big Show, Lesnar, Jericho, Sheamus, Ryback, Axel, Ziggler, Stardust, Wyatt, Harper, Rowan, and Strowman as the confirmed names. At least that's what's confirmed on my list that I've got in front of me. So, From that list, well, it's hard to pass up. You've got Roman Reigns, you've got Lesnar, probably the two only guys that are likely. Jericho, let's be honest, is not going to win. So it's either really a toss-up between Lesnar and Reigns from that list. Throw in Triple H, who I think is a big, big chance. And I think that's probably your only three realistic chances of winning. Now, there's not going to be an AJ Styles who comes in and wins the Rumble on his first night as much. Well, I personally don't even want to see that. As much as it would be really cool to see someone debut and win the Rumble on their first night. I was originally going to create my own little storyline on WWE 2K14 doing the same thing. I was going to have my own created wrestler, and I was going to have him debut at the Royal Rumble and have him win the Royal Rumble on his first night and kind of have like a WWE versus, this guy who was going to be from a different company storyline. I was going to do that. I thought that would be pretty cool. I nearly did it, but I couldn't be bothered. But I think that would be pretty cool, but I don't think AJ Styles, I don't think he'll get a main event run. I don't even know if he'll get in the main roster, for goodness sake. So I don't think that's a possibility. So they're my three guys that I think have a realistic chance. Reigns, Lesnar, Triple H. And the final four, my prediction, I've kind of tossed and changed it a little bit now. I think Reigns, I think Lesnar, I think Triple H. And I'm probably going to say Sheamus. I think he's going to be there. I think that, Ginger Idiot will probably make his way there. I don't think Jericho will be in that long. I mean, he'll be in it for a while, but I don't think he'll be that deep into it. I think he'll come in at maybe number 8, number 9, as that big name. He'll last until number 25 and get eliminated finally. So I don't see Jericho making it that far into it. Will Lesnar win it? I personally believe, well, here's how I see it. There's a couple scenarios. Roman Reigns wins the title, retains the title. Fastlane, to have Lesnar versus whoever, number one contender matchup, Lesnar wins versus Reigns at WrestleMania. Or Lesnar wins the Royal Rumble, Roman Reigns has to earn the right to face Lesnar at WrestleMania by Fastlane, so he has a match at Fastlane, he wins, kind of reverse it, and Lesnar versus Reigns again. Or you have Triple H in there with Roman Reigns. They have the epic face-off. Triple H wins. Triple H holds the title, keeps it up in the air, throws all these different obstacles at Roman Reigns to get another shot at it, to get his rematch for WrestleMania. Reigns has to overcome maybe the League of Nations or something like that at Fastlane. He does that, earns his rematch at WrestleMania. Reigns versus Triple H, the main event of Mania for the title, and you have Roman Reigns win and get the title back. And the same thing I would have done if Lesnar wins the title at the Royal Rumble and you have Reigns versus Lesnar at WrestleMania. I would have Roman Reigns win the title back at WrestleMania, finally giving Reigns his big win over Lesnar, basically solidifying him as the new top star of the WWE. And I think that's fine. I think if you have a win that means that over Lesnar, I think that's a good thing. I think Reigns should beat Lesnar at some point. Really, there's really no other kind of circumstances that I can really envision. I don't really see anyone else. I don't think there's going to be any surprise return. Daniel Bryan returning. A lot of rumors. A lot of people think yes, maybe. Personally, I don't think it's going to happen. I think it would probably overshadow Roman Reigns at the moment. I think they're all just completely on Roman Reigns. If Bryan is going to return, he's going to return the night after WrestleMania. He's not going to return for the WrestleMania season. And quite honestly, I think that would be the way to go, because I think Bryan could do with just the extra time. Even if he thinks he's cleared now, I think I would even give him that little bit extra time just to make sure he's 100%, because the last thing we need is to have Daniel Bryan come back for 2 months and get injured again and he's out, because that would just be ridiculous. I think we've all had enough of that. I think we want to see Bryan back 100% for the long haul, and giving him that little extra time may just be the reason to help him do that. So that's kind of my not early predictions, but that's kind of like my predictions of the Rumble right now. Probably they will change, but on Royal Rumble night, I'll keep you posted on my Twitter what I think is going to happen. Normally I have a few little predictions of what I think is going to happen when the show's going on. So I'll keep you guys posted on my Twitter at BrendanPlays. and I'll give you guys my thoughts and opinions, and I'll be tweeting live throughout that show. Make sure you also join the forums at BrendanPlace.com/forums. I will be on the forums live. It's going to be a big chat, I think. The Royal Rumble on the forums should be a really good one. I think everyone's going to be pretty hyped for that. So if you are on the forums, make sure you are there. If you're not on the forums, make sure you join up. It's absolutely free. And get on there and join the live chat when the Royal Rumble's on, because it's always a lot of fun. It's always a lot of fun. We generally have 30, 40 people out there, talking about a pay-per-view live. It's pretty cool. So definitely get on there and join me on there as we talk about the Rumble. So a couple of other little things this week in news. Iron Mike Sharp passed away today. Not very familiar with his work, probably a bit before my time, but I want to say rest in peace to him. And Sunny is apparently selling her Hall of Fame ring. Currently the bid is about $6,000 for her ring, and she also got offered another $100,000 by Vivid, who are offering to buy her ring and give her are offering to buy her ring for $100,000 in exchange for a 90-minute porn movie, a sex tape or whatever, from her. From Sunny, who, mind you, is old, who has done cheap webcam strip videos, who will do whatever you want her to do for $20 or $100 or whatever on Skype. I mean, quite honestly, if you're Sunny right now, my advice would be just to take the money, do it. Make the 90-minute video, just do it. Because she obviously needs the money that she's selling her ring. Just do the video. You've already degraded yourself enough. If you Google Sunny, I'm sure you can find some pretty revealing photos of her. And I wouldn't recommend it, but I'm pretty sure you can find some revealing photos of her already. So, if I'm her, I would just do the video, get your 100K, and get your life sorted, because she's obviously been messed up with drugs and you name it. So it's time for her to kind of sort herself out. I think she's already degraded herself enough, with all the DUIs and all the other problems she's had. So I think she even went on a big racist rant on Twitter the other day. I didn't really read much of it because, look, I don't really give a shit about Sunny at all. But yeah, I think she went on some big racist tirade on Twitter, so she's just in a bad place overall. So, quite honestly, I would take your 100K whilst it's on offer, because it's not going to be on offer for all that much longer. You're not getting any younger, so take the 100K while you can. So if you want to buy her Hall of Fame ring, you can do it for $6,000 at the moment. That's the bid on eBay. I don't think the ring is worth that much in terms of the ring, but if you're a big wrestling fan and you got a lot of money, hey, why not? I guess you could do it. I know a few other guys have sold their rings in the past as well. Quite honestly, I feel as though that's a little disrespectful. I don't really think that's all in the right. I'm not a big fan of that. I just don't think it's the right thing to do. If you get awarded a ring or a trophy or an award or a prize, and you sell that for your own personal gain, I think that's pretty shitty. If you got an Oscar, for example, and you sold your Oscar, I think that's pretty shitty. I think, people like that who do that, I think, are either obviously desperate for money or just have no pride in what they did. I think, I guess if you hate the WWE and you want nothing to do with the WWE, you got this Hall of Fame ring and you want to get rid of it, I mean, even then, I think if you get given something as an award, as an appreciation of your work, you should keep that. You should keep that and honor that. Because they, gave you that recognition, and they didn't have to. They didn't have to induct Sunny in the Hall of Fame. Did she even deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? You could argue that she did, or she didn't. Quite honestly, I think, yeah, she probably has earned a spot there. But, to sell your ring for that, I just think that's really shitty. And if I'm the WWE, to be honest with you, anybody that sells a ring, that I would administer to them for their hard work, and this is my appreciation. I'm talking if I'm Vince McMahon here, I would be pretty pissed off, and I probably wouldn't be that forgiving. I mean, I'm a person who holds a grudge. That's just me, but I would be pretty shitty at them. Let's be fair. So, Sunny selling a ring is a thumbs down from me. It's a no from me. This week, we will see the return of Total Divas. I think it's this week, might be next week, but Total Divas is coming back. Amanda from Tough Enough, I think they're calling her Mandy. She's going to be on the show this season. Now, I'm going to tell you guys that I do watch Total Divas, and I do enjoy Total Divas for what it is most of the time. I enjoy it because, you get that little insight of what happens backstage. You get those little snippets with some of the wrestlers goofing around a little bit. You get a bit of an insight of what's it like to be a wrestler, and I think I like it for that reason. A big reason why I like Breaking Ground, for example. I liked seeing that insight on the process of becoming a wrestler. Now, Total Divas is obviously a lot of scripted bullshit, over-the-top dramatic crap, and for the most part, that's pretty shitty, pretty awful. But, when they get real, when it's kind of like real, and you can see the insight behind these women's lives in the wrestling world, I kind of like that. So, for the most part, I do enjoy Total Divas. I'm not going to lie. It's kind of like my... it's something that I keep under wraps, but it's, I do enjoy a little bit of it. I'm man enough to admit that I do enjoy watching the show, but it's coming back this week, so I probably will check it out. Let you guys know what I think about it when it does, when I do get around to watching it. But Amanda debuting, not that hyped on her. I don't think she's really got much to offer, quite honestly. She's a good-looking woman. Let's be honest. She's very good-looking, but I don't think she's going to go all that far in terms of wrestling in the WWE, let's be fair. I think she's just going to be there. And to be honest with you, I think it's time we just have some of these women who are hot and just have them be valets. Why are we trying to force them all to wrestle? When look at Eva Marie. She can't wrestle. She never will be able to wrestle. She's too old, for starters, to get into wrestling and to become good at it. By the time she's good at it, she's going to be 33 years old and ready for retirement. So the fact that she's wrestling now is ridiculous. I don't know why they just didn't kind of teach her the way to be a manager and be a good one. I think it would take a lot less time, and she don't even have to talk. She can just be a valet and come out there and help, her boyfriend or her partner or whoever win matches by, helping him cheat, for example. I don't know why she's not doing that. Instead of they're trying to force her to wrestle, trying to make her this big new major star. She's hot as hell. Let's try and make her a great wrestler, and so she'll be the full package. Well, by the time she's the full package, you're going to get the full package for 2 years. Then she's going to be pregnant and having kids and done. So it's just not a good idea to be kind of investing all that money and time into Eva Marie when I don't think you're going to get much of a return. I think you'd be better off making her a valet. Same thing with like an Amanda. I think she's got more time on her side, but I just feel as though with these type of women, I think making them valets would be a better option. I think getting the wrestling women from the indies, making them wrestle, tear the house down, that's the way to go. But these hot models that don't really show all that much promise in the ring, why not transition them into valets and, do something there? So that's what I would probably recommend for Amanda. But that's going to be the wrap-up this week in terms of wrestling. We're going to get into what is Brendan playing this week. We've actually kind of gone a little bit longer than what I expected already. So what is Brendan playing this week? If you've been following my Platinums channel, actually I haven't kind of uploaded a few of those, but I got 3 Platinums in the past week. I've been busy. I got the Defense Grid 2 Platinum, which is an awesome tower defense game. Love that game. If you're on the PS4 or the PC, Defense Grid 2, if you love tower defense games, get it. You will love it. Assassin's Creed 4, I have finally done it. Finally done it after 2 years of grinding that thing. I hated the boats. I couldn't stand it. I had to put the game down. I just didn't want to ever come back and do it. But I was determined. I did not want to touch another Assassin's Creed until I had finished and platinumed Black Flag. And I finally have done it. It's done. Finally. And it is platinum. It's never to be played again. I think I need to do the DLC on it. I don't know if I'm going to do it. Probably not. We've started Unity, and so far I don't know what to think. I don't know. I don't know if the graphics look really bad or if it's just different. The game feels very different. The layout's everything's different. I don't know if I like that yet. I gotta get used to it. I gotta take some adjusting. But we also platinumed The Walking Dead on the PS4 again. I already had platinumed on the PS3. Keely actually played quite a bit of it for me. She probably played about half of it. We kind of did half in the end, so I didn't really have to do too much of it. She started playing it on my account one time when I was making videos, and I didn't want her to play it on my account because I was like, no, I don't want to play that. I've already platinumed it, but she already started it, so I had to kind of platinum it. I felt obliged to finish it off. So we got another platinum there. So we're up to 64 platinums, which is fantastic. really cool. Really, really happy with that. My goal for this month was 3. We got 4. Last month, my goal was 3. We only got 1. So if we can get 1 more platinum this month, I will make up for my loss. So I'll be pretty pleased about that. Now, don't know what game I'm going to platinum next, let's be honest. But we'll see. There's nothing I'm really that close to. Maybe Game of Thrones, I could just kind of do that one pretty easily. That's an option. But yeah, so I've been busy trophy hunting away. I've obviously been away for the last maybe 2.5, nearly 3 weeks. I've been away. I was at Keely's house for about 3 weeks. So I am back at home now. So you'll start to see more videos from me. You'll start to see more variety from me again. More time to do my own thing. And more time to do videos. So things are going to be back on schedule again this week. More time to game. Like I said, if I can get the streaming going, I'll be streaming again. So you'll see a lot more of me in the next, well, from now on, I guess. So still going to be pretty busy doing some things here and there. Obviously in the moving out process on the way, but for the most part, you'll see a lot more of me. And I know a lot of people have been like, Brendan, you're not doing enough videos, you're not active enough, you're losing subs, you're losing views, what's going on? I mean, it's not really the case. I think, I'm just in this period where I'm waiting for that transition. I need to kind of get my act together and get some things, sorted. Got to get my life sorted out first, then I can kind of get my YouTube sorted. And I'm going to come back with a vengeance, I think, in March. So that's going to be my month. But that's all I've been playing right now. I don't know what my next game is going to be. Maybe Need for Speed. I think I might be thinking about streaming Need for Speed. That might be something a little bit different to stream. Obviously, I want to get all the Assassin's Creed Platinum, so Unity is something I need to do. I just can't really bring myself around to play Unity. I feel as though I'm a little Assassin's Creed out. Maybe I need to take a week or two break from Assassin's Creed and come back to it later. So maybe I'll try and play something else different, and we'll finish that up, and then we'll get back to Assassin's Creed. So that might be the best way to go about it. But we'll answer a few of your questions before we go here this week. So let's get straight into them. So we have a couple of questions this week. The first one comes from 37 Will Dog. What do you think of the rumor of the WWE splitting up the Dudleys and having Bubba Ray turn heel? We mentioned it a moment ago, well, not a while ago now, but we mentioned it earlier that the Dudley Boyz are losing a lot. Now, are they going to get the titles? I don't think so. Turning heel is an option. Turning the Dudley Boyz heel, having them come up against the Usos, maybe turn the New Day babyface, do something like that, might be a way to freshen them up and still get some longevity and still get some life out of the Dudley Boyz. Because right now, the Dudley Boyz are just stale. They're just kind of doing the same thing. You can't break a table every week, every match. So I think right now they're struggling. I just think they're just not doing much. The WWE doesn't know what to do with them. I think they're just feeding them to the Wyatt family to make them look strong for the Rumble. So I think right now turning them heel might be the way to go. Now, breaking them up and having Bubba Ray turn heel himself and be a singles, I don't know if that's the way to go. Now, mind you, I did enjoy the Bully Ray character quite a lot. I was a big fan of it in TNA. I really enjoyed it. I thought he did great work. His promos were awesome. Bully Ray, Bubba Ray needs to be on the mic more. I think the Dudley Boyz need to be cutting more promos. So I'd be happy if that brings back more promo time for him. But I don't know if that's going to happen. So for me, a singles run for Bubba Ray, I just don't think it's necessary. I just don't think it really needs to happen. I think Devon deserves to be doing something, and I don't think he would really, be that successful as a single. So it would probably leave Devon off the road, and it'll be leaving Bubba Ray by himself. Maybe you can have both of them turn heel, and Bubba Ray kind of, goes towards some singles, and Devon's alongside of him, supporting him. I guess that would be okay, but it's still, he kind of leaves Devon as a supporting act. I think he deserves better than that. But I think it'd be interesting to see how he would go as a singles. I just don't think they would really give him that big chance. He's not going to be the champion or anything like that. I think if anything, you would find that he might have a bit of success for a month or so, win his first feud, then he would, come along against an Ambrose or a Reigns and lose and lose and lose and lose to the point where you don't care about him anymore. I don't think he would really get that much of a chance to really do all that much as a singles. Next question comes from, CM Pipe S1015. So CM Pipe, he wants to know, what are you going to do for your 100th Let's Talk Tuesdays episode? Well, it's episode 90 now, so we're only 10 away, which is 10 weeks, 2.5 months. So my first thing, I kind of read this question, and I was thinking, what can I do? And the first thing that popped in my mind is pretty simple, and I think it's going to be pretty cool. It's something I can do, something that's realistic, and I think something that I think you guys would enjoy, a live Let's Talk Tuesdays episode. Live, streaming on Twitch. You guys are sending me questions real time, just sending me questions, boom, boom, boom. I'm answering, and we do that. So we have me talking, me live on Twitch, live on YouTube, whatever, and the questions are rolling in, and we have all these different questions, and I'm just answering them all, and just answering all of your questions. I think that would be pretty cool. I think that would be pretty successful. Now, I think the 100th Let's Talk Tuesdays episode, so where are we right now? We're in, near the end of January. We could be getting that around WrestleMania time. I'm not 100% sure. Somebody will probably figure it out for me, but I'm not 100% sure. So it's possible that the 100th episode could be around WrestleMania time, which will make it probably even better. So we'd have a lot of WrestleMania questions, obviously. But I think that'd be pretty cool. I think we'd get a lot of variety. I think you guys would be good enough to come up with some other things other than just WrestleMania. I think it'd be pretty cool. So for me, my initial thoughts, and give me your opinions on it, will be a live Let's Talk Tuesdays episode. Plus, I would be able to do it. I'd be, at my own new place now, and I'd be able to have all that access, and it would definitely happen. So maybe like an hour or two Let's Talk Tuesdays, depending how long and how many questions we get, and how good it's going. So that would be my plan. I think that would be pretty cool. And obviously, I would upload it, take the audio, upload it, and put it on put it on iTunes and put it on YouTube and whatever. So that'd be all sweet. Plus, I'll be playing some, maybe have a game or going in the background or something like that. I don't know. And so I think that'd be pretty cool. Alright, so next question, and the final question for today comes from Johnny Dixon, I should say. He wants to know, hey Brennan, I've been meaning to ask this for a bit. What do you think about the overalls in 2K16, and who do I think should be higher and lower? So the overalls in W2K16, the overalls in the game, I've commented about this before, but I think the overalls in the game have always been terrible. I think they're always off by quite a margin. They've always got Sheamus better than Stone Cold. Or, there's always something that needs to be, worked out. I can't really comment on who needs to be changed and who doesn't need to be changed, because the first day that I got the game, I changed the entire overalls to match what I personally believe is their overall for my universe mode. So at the time, Seth Rollins was my champion, so he was the man, so he was going to be like a 94, and we had Dolph Ziggler doing well, so he was going to be like a 91, and we had tag team champions of Mark Henry and Kane, like 89, Batista and Jericho doing well in the 90s, and we had a few guys that might have been struggling a little bit. Let me just try and think of someone right here. I think maybe like a Jack Swagger might have been down to like 82, for example. I don't know, some things like that. Some guys that were struggling at the time, or doing well at the time, got a high overall based on that. So I don't know exactly who needed to be changed or not, because I kind of immediately just did it straight away. And I would recommend doing that yourselves. I think as soon as the game comes out, get it and change the overalls to match your own personal opinion. And I think you'll enjoy it a lot more that way, because their overalls are really shitty, let's be honest. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for this week's edition of Let's Talk Tuesdays. If you did enjoy this week's podcast, make sure you do leave a like on it on YouTube, and also subscribe to the channel whilst you're there. Follow me on Twitter at BrennanPlays. Make sure you do that. Do join up to the forums and join us for the Royal Rumble chat, live chat, when the Royal Rumble is on air. Come along and join us there. I'll be making a video to remind you guys later on Sunday, so do not forget that. And yes, continue to support the show, spread it around to your friends, and let me know all your thoughts and opinions on everything we talked about today. Who is going to win the Royal Rumble? Let me know in the comment section down below. Hope you guys have a great week. Hopefully my internet gets upgraded tomorrow. Fingers crossed. Hopefully we can get a new house settled. So I'll keep you guys posted, and I'm looking forward to getting back on the show next week and chatting with you guys once again and answering all of your questions. So keep sending in the questions. You can do it in the YouTube comment section down below or over the forums, BrendanPlays.com/forums. Guys, thank you so much again, and I'll see you all next week.